Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we are doing the full review on the KAZAK Model 10. I do have a full review on the Model 100 from KAZAK, which is a much larger, much more expensive setup. This one is their most affordable setup, and we're gonna get right into it.
Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bets, cause we know where we at, we know we top tier. Cause all the hate that you bring, we know it stops here. I'm taking off like a rocket here, ain't stopping here. It's strange how they cannot see the future, but see profit here. Wait up, we gon' always win. Promise that that's not a promise, yeah, that is a threat. You know that I promise to bring the team commas. When the whole team win, that's when you flex.
So this setup cost $430. That's for everything you see here, including a bunch of other stuff I'm gonna show you guys. Now, this part right here, we're gonna talk about in a second, that does not come with this system, but this is hardened stainless steel between 58 and, or between 58 and 60 HRC, and then also 70-75 aluminum, which is an extremely durable aluminum. Now, what comes with this system is going to be an angle finder, 2 strops. I got mine, one of them loaded with my compound, some diamond plates, a full set that we're also going to talk about, a tool, some stropping compound, and then some oil. Now, right off the bat, this isn't going into negatives or anything like that, but I'm just going to start it off for you guys. The stones suck. Don't even think about the stones. The stones suck. If you want to get some good stones, I recommend either getting the Hapstone Starts, which there's like 5 stones in the set up to 1,000 grit if you want only diamond plates. If you have the money, I would go with bonded diamond. I do have some on my Neeves Knife Co. site, the hybrids or my mix set, which are resin bonded or hybrid bonded diamonds, which will basically last you forever, at least for years and years and years to come. These are a lot more affordable if you want to go this route from the Hapstone site. I will link everything from this video down in the description, including the KAZAK stuff. Now, the strops are good, but I do not like this type of compound. Will this compound work? Yes, but I have so much diamond emulsions. I recommend the stroppy stuff. That's my favorite stuff. I think it has the most highest concentration and it's color coordinated. The 0.5 and the 1 micron is really good, all the way up to the 4 and 6 micron. This stuff, it's okay, but it doesn't last very long. It breaks down really fast, and it's not the best when you're talking about the super high wear resistant steels, which is a lot of the sharpenings I do. If you're using very simple steels, like, you know, cheap kitchen knives and stuff, it'll be fine. So, like I said, the strops are good. Now, the oil, I could not figure out what this oil is for, whether it was for the stones, because sometimes some companies recommend using oil on diamond plates, which I personally don't. If you're using regular diamond plates, I say just don't. Just wipe them off. Just literally just dust them off. But it also could be just for the system, right? Because you have to oil parts. I did oil this with this. It worked good. And I also used this oil for my resin bonded diamond stones, and it also worked good. So I don't know, because I don't speak Polish, so that's what it's written in. So I have no idea, but I will say when you get the system, if you have bonded stones, it'll work well for it, or other oil stones, and also for oiling the system. This tool is awesome. I love this tool. It works really well. Works for most of the parts on this system. The digital angle finder, I did not like it. I personally can't get it to zero out. So if you look right here, we're gonna turn it on. It just for some reason will not zero out. So right there, it says whatever number it says. I'm gonna push where it should zero out, and it does not. Hit it again, it does not. Hit it again, it does not. Hit it over here, it does not. So I can't figure out why it won't zero out, because this is the way it should work. So if you watch this one, you see I set it down, then hit 0, goes to 0, bam. So this is how it should work. That one's just probably messed up. Most of them will probably be fine. Mine's probably just a lemon, no problem. So I got enough of them anyways, but you know, whatever. I do recommend getting a digital angle finder, but they're not very much. You can get them on Amazon, you know, if you want to get one. Get to the system. The system is built extremely well. And I'm going to show you guys how this thing works. So first off, though, I do need to tell you that I have this adapter, okay? So I do recommend This is a must-have in my opinion. I wouldn't even buy this system unless if you're gonna get this piece right here. So this piece allows you to do what you see right here. Put the clamps together. Now the clamps technically come with these on the back of them, but once I put this on, I put these on the back and then use the screws to screw that on. When you need to put the clamps together, this is in the way. So what'll happen is they'll stop right here, and that's as close as you can get them to each other, and then you cannot clamp small blades. You can only clamp like kitchen knives or big fixed blades and things like that. The majority of sharpening, I mean, it depends on you, I guess. A lot of people might sharpen kitchen knives the most time, but if you're doing big and small knives, you want your clamps to be able to go together. So I do like that they do have this attachment that you can buy, because now that allows the clamps to go together instead of, you know, staying spread apart or very far apart. But you can't spread them very far apart for big blades if you want to do that. Next, these little clamps come with these little rubbers. I really like this because otherwise I use Kapton tape. Kapton, I'll link it down below. Kapton tape is very, very thin and very wear resistant, so it protects your blade. I just tape my blades up typically, but it's also very easy to remove and also very easy to cut shapes. But this comes with these little plastic guards already, which is really awesome. And I think I might have actually gotten an extra set of these, I'm not sure, but I feel like you could make your own. Anyways, the tool works with the clamps just fine. So you can see if you unscrew it too far, this will pop out the bottom. So you want to try not to do that. You want to try to leave it somewhat tight so the bottom screw stays in there. Now, you have this guy right here, this top part. This is gonna just basically be an angle holder, or sorry, a rod holder, because when you're sharpening, you're gonna wanna set down your rod sometimes. You don't wanna just let it fall, right? Otherwise it'll be be messed up. So you can get it out of the way. I really like that. Next thing is I love that they have a stone compensator here. So this is how you change your angle right here. You go up and down, right? And if you need to adjust this, you can adjust this one too. But this guy right here, if you need to go from, let me grab another stone just so I can show you this, because this is very important. This is a really cool feature between, the difference between these two stones, right? You can see how one is much thicker than the other one, right? So say if what I'll do is I will raise this up a little bit, right? So now this can go down and this can go up. So let's say this will be so say if I've already done my angle and this is my stone thickness right there, if I need to go with a thinner stone, now I can just adjust like that. And now that will adjust for the stone difference. So you can adjust it up or down just depending on if your stone's thicker or thinner. Because sometimes you'll sharpen with this stone and then need to switch to this stone, which might be a little thicker. So you might have to compensate for that. So you always want to use this little mechanism to measure the stone that you're using at the time. Otherwise, what you could do is just use the digital angle finder, but then you'll have to recalibrate it and check it each time you change different thickness of stones. You don't have to do this every time you switch stones, only if the stones are different thickness. This is a magnet right here. This little guy right here, here, let me grab a knife. As you can see, this is a magnet. Actually, this face of it is a magnet. See that? This is steel. So when it goes down to here, it falls in this little groove and bang, it pops in. However, this side does not have a magnet on this side because it needs to be able to flip, right? So you flip over, bam. So now you can put pressure on this side, but you can't put pressure on this side. So you want to make sure, this is very important, so please hear this, whatever side is going to have the most weight, you want to keep towards the magnet. Meaning, if typically with the knives I'm sharpening, I do it blade towards the magnet, because most of my pressure when I get to the tip and I'm putting pressure on the tip will be towards the magnet. If it's on this side, so say if I clamp this on this side and I go to sharpen this side and I put pressure here, it can pop out. So just by me putting too much pressure on the tip. So I like to put the tip towards this. However, if it is a fixed blade or a chef knife, I will do it the opposite way. I will put it towards the handle, and the reason why is because with a knife where most of the weight is in the handle, when you're sharpening the heel, that's the spot that will unlock. So if I flip this around and this was, say, a kitchen knife of some sort, and now I'm sharpening the heel of the blade, it can pop out. So whatever side is the heavy side, you're gonna want to put towards the magnet. And so far, with most of the sharpening I've done with this, it's been the blade. I've been putting the magnet towards the blade side. However, like I said, with kitchen knives, you tend to want to go the opposite way.
Couldn't there just be a barn bent to clamp down the other side so we like can't lift up like that? You just flap down when you're sharpening.
So this is, yeah, you should, you think, right? So what I do, here, let me just go ahead.
Go ahead.
So Kara just asked a question, shouldn't there be like a flap? You can flap right here. And which is a good question because yeah, I thought the same thing kind of. What I do is I will hold this while I'm sharpening and I'll put my thumb there. So now it can't undo. And you don't need to put much pressure to hold it because it's very little pressure. It's going to be the difference, right, between whether it unlocks or not. So if you're only holding this, it's fine. But once it gets to this side, you don't want to have to hold it with your other arm because you tend to use the same arm. So what I'll do is I'll go like this and then maybe just put my arm underneath there and hold it. Or, just be careful. Don't put too much pressure on one side or the other. You do want to let the stones do the work, but sometimes when there is so much weight on one side or the other, it can make it easier to just pop. And you don't want to do that when you're in the middle of sharpening, which it did happen to me. And, you can get hurt. So, but that goes with any tool for anything. If you are sharpening mostly pocket knives, like I said, you're going to want to just put these together and get this adapter because otherwise you're not going to be able to hit the tip of your knife without scraping the clamp. See how that has a little wear to it? Your clamps will hit that, especially with low edge angles. Now, if you're mostly doing kitchen knives, it might not be that big of a deal, but we're going to clamp this MKM Hero. This is an Italian-made knife. This is M390 steel, and I'm going to clamp it right down right here. Now, this one does have thumb studs that are not easily removable, so I'm not going to probably be able to go to at the lowest angle I want to, but I'll still be able to hopefully go to a decently low angle. Now, this one does have a handle heavy side, more than probably the tip side, but I think it'll be okay. We're going to try to make it work. Now, I'm going to use my stone set. Like I said, I don't like these stones, and just really quick, I'll explain it because I know people are gonna be like, why don't you like the stones? So one, they're plastic. So see how I just did that? It just broke. I literally just broke it by bending it. So now it's not even, now it's not flat. Granted, maybe it has a little bit of flex, but the glue will pop. Once this thing gets wet and stuff like that, which not saying you're gonna get it wet, but you see how it's already popping off? I can literally probably peel this stone right off of here. But the point is that this surface is very close to the plastic. Like it's not, yes, this does hang up farther than the plastic, but they wear out really quick. I've tested so many plastic back to diamond plates. I can look at them and tell that they're not high quality. So that's just my problem with them because I've tested so many diamond plates. These are just cheap diamond plates. There's nothing wrong with them to use them a couple times, but this is going to, for a 1500 grit, this is going to wear out pretty much immediately. Anytime you get over 1200 grit with a diamond plate, you want bonded. A regular diamond plate will almost always wear out incredibly fast. So their kick starts with a 200 grit, which is okay, but I can tell this is probably a 300 grit, not even a 200 grit. So after you use it a few times, it's going to become a 500 grit. Then the next stone is a 500 grit. This 500 grit, yeah, that feels about like a 500 grit, but it's going to wear out pretty quickly. So that's why I recommend, just other diamond plates because they're going to last much longer. They're going to come much more aggressive than they say. So if they say they're a 100, they'll probably come at like an 80 grit and then break into a 100 and then last you for a year or two with a lot of sharpening and be reliably, around the 1 to 200 grit range. But when you get cheaper ones, the cheaper quality ones, especially the ones with the plastic backing, they just wear out super fast. Now, I'm going to start with my bonded diamond stone set. So this one is, I will have a full hybrid set on the Neeves Knife Co site. This is a mix bag that I sell. So the first one is a silver bond. Then we have 2 vitrifieds, and then the rest are hybrids. This is the most elite set in my opinion, because you're getting the best low and medium grits, and then in my opinion, the best finishing stones. But on the site, we will have full sets of hybrids that will be more affordable and will get you the best quality edge up to 5,000 grit. I'm just gonna use their honing oil because I got it here, and I'm guessing that's what it's for. So here we go. Let's start really quick. So you can see here, you got the spring here. So you can adjust this if you want to. If you did use, bigger or smaller stones, it's made for a 1x6. I'm just saying you can adjust this if you had some 1x4 stones you wanted to use or something like that. One thing that I really love about this setup is this little guard right here. See how it hangs down farther than the plate? Because now if I go like this and say I don't have this there, it will hit this before it hits my finger. So I don't have to worry about hitting myself. But you do have these right here that are made for stoppers. So wherever the end of this stone is, I want to measure. So like right there. So a little bit farther. So now when I go this way, this is going to stop me before this hits the edge. And then when I come this way, I want to make sure the end of the stone stops at the edge. So I place this stopper there. That's going to make it to where the stone doesn't come off of the edge and then scratch the hell out of it. Or go this way and scratch the hell out of it so it'll stay in an area where it can't fall off and it has to stay on the edge. And then, like I said, then you can adjust this thing to where you want, where it can hang on. Now we're going to adjust for the angle. So we're going to grab this digital angle finder. We're going to zero it out. Can you see it?
Yeah, no, I can. It's a little weird.
Okay, it's zeroed out. Now I'm going to place it right here. And I'm going to see where it's at. Where are we at? We are at 17. Now I want to make sure I'm not hitting the thumb stud. I'm really, oh no, I'm good. So we're going to do 17 degrees per side on this, or right around 17. Let's see. Let's say 17. It's right around there. If I did need to change stone thickness, which I'm not going to, but if I did, or when I go to strop, I can remeasure or do the stone compensation. Like I said, I can do the stone compensator right here. So here, we'll just do that anyways really quick, just in case if I decide that I want to with the strop. So bang, right there. Now let's start to sharpen. Technically with these silvers, and by the way, if you see any movement, that has nothing to do with the system. The system is flat. It's my table. My table is a little lopsided. So if I turn it this way, it'll have a little bounce. If I leave it this way, it's perfectly firm. So if you see any movement or anything, it's my table shifting and moving. It's, just a cheap table. So we're going 17 degrees per side, which is a pretty low edge angle for this. In some cases, when you're going to be doing something relatively thick like this, you'd want to maybe just use regular diamond plates, like I was saying before, like the Hapstone Starts. Let me go a little bit farther up to there. So what we're going to do is we will reprofile this side. I'm not going to finish the whole thing. I'm going to work a little bit on this side, and then I'm going to flip it. Now, here's the thing. When you clamp the blade side to the magnet side, then you're going to have to pull it out to the edge to flip it, okay? So when you go to flip it, it has to have room, because if I do it over here, it's going to hit, right? You could go like this. You could do that, but I'm just saying you're going to have to figure that out. Again, depending on which side you're clamping. You have to decide that for yourself, but just know that if you're on the wrong side and you put pressure, like right here, I'm not worried about unhinging because I'm putting pressure. See, I'm putting pressure. But if this was the non-magnetic side and I was pushing the tip, it would pop, it would unhinge with enough pressure. A lot of people are going to sharpen over here like this anyways, kind of at the edge anyways, so it's not that big of a deal. And, I have no problem moving it back and forth if I need to. It is light enough to do that, but also heavy enough, not to. So sometimes I'll hold the back of it and I kind of hold the system down, because with this adapter, this can happen. So that's going to happen with a lot of systems, just so you know. So what I do is I put my hand back there and I just hold it down. I can do it without it. You know, it's just I don't get to put as much pressure as I want to. Now, you shouldn't be putting a ton of pressure anyways, but you do need a little bit. Pause it. Okay, now I'm going to switch to the opposite side and work on the other side. I did not finish the first side. Anytime you're dealing with somewhat thick edge and you're going at a low angle, you do not want to complete one side and then move to the other. You want to work about halfway, flip, do the other half, or do the other side, and then go back and finish the other side. You can do half of this side. Sometimes this side will go a little bit faster than the opposite side, but you can do about half of this side and then flip, do the other side, then flip and do the rest of this one. Your first stone will always be your longest sharpening or your longest stone. So you're gonna put the most wear, most damage, and most time on your first stone always, whatever that is. That's why I recommend using the lowest grit possible. This is a 160. In many cases, I'll use a 80 or a 100. So just letting you know. Now, with the tips, when you get to the tips, never let the tip of the stone go past the center of the stone. In fact, right when the edge of this hits the tip, stop. In some cases, I'll put my finger there so I can feel it. I can feel it hit, because if you allow it to go past the halfway point, it goes like this. It'll fall over and it will roll this tip, and it will take you so long to fix that. It literally just chips the little tiny bit of the tip, and it is so difficult to get out. So put your finger there and it'll prevent it from being able to flip over, and you can feel it when it touches. Now, another thing is you can put a mirror under here if you want, so you can watch it. That's another thing you can do, but it is something that's very important, because one of the most difficult areas is the tips and the heels of the blade. The tips are difficult because of what I just said, and you got to get that muscle memory of stopping. Another thing, when you're doing a belly like this, let the stone follow the angle. So like what I'm doing now is I'm allowing this side to tilt a little bit this way. See how it's tilting? So it's flat right here. As it comes over here, I'm not holding to this side, I'm holding to this side so it can turn around the corner like that. See how it rotates around the corner? So I'm basically doing is coming this way and turning. Just ever so slightly. I'm exaggerating to show you, but that will follow the belly. And we are just about done with this side. Okay, so what you're looking for when you know you are finished with your first stone is you want to make sure you're developing a burr on each side. So if I sharpen this side, after I've, done both sides, I want to watch my scratch pattern, start from the top of the bevel and reach the apex, and then create a burr. It's a little metal wire. You're going to feel it. It'll feel rough because it's a metal wire that folds over the opposite side. So if I'm sharpening this side, the burr will be on this side. If I'm sharpening this side, the burr will be on this side. So we are all done with the 160 silver, and now we're moving to the premium vitrified, which is a 285. Now we're going to use honing oil on this one. Now, the reason why you would use honing oil on this stone, which is diamond, and not this one, which is diamond, is because this is diamond plate. So it's just a metal surface with diamonds over it. Just like a metal bonded diamond, you don't need to use oil. But with this is a bonded diamond stone that has other materials in it, which do have pores. And that's why, because the pores can clog up with the steel being removed. So the oil will help lift those out of the pores. This can just be easily dusted off. There's no pores for the particles to get into. So what we're gonna do is put a little drip of oil, massage it around. You can see the steel particles coming off right now. So now we're going to wipe it clean. I'm going to redo it. Now you should have, if you're going to get if you're going to get bonded stones, you do need to get a conditioning stone, which cleans this off. So you don't have to worry about it as much, and you can condition it every 4 or 5 sharpenings. We don't need to check angle again because this is the same thickness stone. Let me put it flat so it stops tilting on them. And we would just repeat the exact same thing. We're going to sharpen this side. until we develop another burr, but we also want to pay attention to our scratch pattern. We want to make sure our scratch pattern changes from the old stone's scratch pattern on the edge to the new stone scratch pattern from heel to tip, from the top of the bevel down to the apex. So the entire bevel is covered with the new scratch pattern. Even if you develop a burr quickly, that could be the old burr from the first stone. And we don't remove the burr until our last stone. But what I do like to do is when I'm done with one side and I'm ready to flip, I will knock my burr over to the other side by starting at the tip and just doing a gentle reverse pass, kind of like doing a stropping pass, just like that, and then I'll start to this side. And all it does is it moves my burr out of the way so I don't have to worry about tearing it off or anything. And then by the end of my sharpening, the burr's been flipped back and forth so many times, it's fatigued and ready to pop off easily. Now we are to the 550 grit vitrified stone. Now we are to the hybrid series stones. All the rest of them are going to be hybrids. This is the hybrid 1100. Put a little splash of oil on it. Now we are to the 3000 hybrid. And now 5000 grit. Okay, now my strop is going to be slimmer than my stone. So that was the measurement for that. So now I can just go like this. Bam, drop that down to there. Now this is calibrated so I don't have to check my angle with the digital angle finder. And now I'm going to strop. This is a 0.5 micron diamond stroppy stuff. Some of my favorite emulsion. Very, very sharp. Incredibly sharp. Look at that. Woo! This is incredibly sharp. Look at... Ooh, that was my fault. Swirls are very easy with this thing. I'm going to go right through the two sheets. Ooh, I almost made it through.
There's preparation here.
Yeah. Look at that. This is absolutely a hair whittling edge. Ooh, yeah. Oh my goodness, yeah. This is a very dangerous edge here. You want to be careful with an edge like that. Okay, so negatives about the system. One thing is, you know, I already explained a lot of stuff. I don't like the stones, right? My digital angle finder did not work. They typically do. Mine didn't, but they're very cheap to get. The strops were good. Not a big fan of the stropping compound, but those are like, it doesn't matter type of things because I don't really know of a sharpening system with the base model that comes with great stones. You almost always have to buy good stones. Now, there might be one out there, but regardless, you're always going to have to replace them eventually. Either way, no matter, even if these were the best stones, unless if they're resin bonded stones, you're going to have to replace them. So, you know, that's not that big of a deal. Always plan on that anytime you get a system. Now, another thing is, you know, like I said, with the convenience of flipping it is awesome, but you do have to be careful to make sure you clamp on the right side, you know, so that you don't unhinge it with pressure. So another thing is this little attachment right here does not come with the system, which I think it should. I think this should be just a mandatory piece because to me, 90% of everything I sharpen requires this little U attachment. I need this attachment. So this system doesn't even work for what I need without this. So to me, if I bought this system, it would be useless without this, unless I'm only sharpening kitchen knives, which The majority of what I sharpen is folding knives. I do sharpen a lot of kitchen knives and fixed blades, but I can do those just fine, but I can't do the other ones. So this, I think, should come with the system. However, at least they do sell it. So that's really cool. The next thing is the price, as far as goods, going to positives, because there's really a lot more positives. I know it seems like there's quite a few negatives, but this is an awesome system. For 430 bucks, you're getting quite a bit for your money compared to a lot of the competition. One, it has the adapter, which I love about the stone compensator. So if you use different thickness in stones, that's awesome. I love that it has this hook here to get the stone out of the way. I love the convenience of flipping like that. You know, as long as you're playing it safe. It is, you know, heavy, relatively light though. Like, yes, it has some weight. The base has definitely got weight to it, but it's not so heavy that, you know, you can't just pick it up and move it. It is a very, very well-built system. I love these little rubber deals in here. And I do think that there's a way you could probably cut these out yourself out of, you know, some sort of plastic or paper. And now I'm thinking about making my own. So I appreciate that. I love that this thing has this little safety feature right there, so you don't run into your edge with your hand, because even a lot more expensive systems do not have that. And that's happened to me. So that's another reason why I like that, because I've cut myself pretty bad on some edges doing that. So all in all, I absolutely recommend it. It is a great system, but like all systems, there are some downsides. So you do have to, you know, weigh the options. I will be doing a top 10 sharpening list here pretty soon. I do already have a top 5 sharpening system video, but this I did not test at that time, nor the M100, which would have been on the list. So we're going to make a new video. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.